In this case, the Philadelphia police had body cams. In this case, the body cams apparently have been activated, although they have not been released, but other footage has been shown, apparently people filming what happened. Now, the shooting has sparked protests, some violent, some 30 Philadelphia police officers injured yesterday, some gone to the hospital, some looting has taken place. Apparently, the cop or cops involved were white, although it's difficult to tell from looking at the footage. And as I mentioned, the suspect, 27-year-old black man, has been killed. May I ask you a few questions here? Those of you who are out in the streets in Philadelphia, Philadelphia carries our show. We get a lot of calls from Philadelphia, so please, Phil, give us a call, 888-971-SAGE, if there's anything you want to add to what I'm about ready to say, or correct what I'm about ready to say. Did I mention the man had a knife? Did I mention that the police asked him to drop the knife, told him to drop the knife several times? He doesn't drop the knife. The man's mom, by the way, is at the scene. She's trying to discourage him from charging towards the police. He charges towards the police anyway. One relative says, how come they couldn't shoot him in the leg? One too many Westerns. You shoot to stop the threat. Now, does it matter that the police chief of the Philadelphia Police Department is a black female? Does it matter that the Philadelphia City Council is virtually 100% Democrat? I think there are 2 Republicans out of 12. The president of the Philadelphia City Council, black man. So whatever systemic changes you believe should have taken place or should take place within the Philadelphia PD, why haven't the all-Democrat or virtually all-Democrat city council imposed them? Why hasn't the black female police chief imposed them? And why do we assume, as I'm sure the protesters are, that whatever happened to Mr. Wallace happened because he was black? Had Mr. Wallace been white or Latino or chartreuse and behaved exactly the same way, did not follow the commands, was perceived to be a threat, is there any reason to believe the outcome would have been different? Comply, you won't die. Recall the activists whose news piece we played you a few weeks ago? Activists against the police in Phoenix, Arizona, and the Maricopa County Police offered this guy an opportunity to walk a mile in our moccasins. Come here and do the shoot, don't shoot tests. Real simulations. He agreed to do so, much to his credit. And after going through the training, he said, I never realized how important it was to comply. Well, duh. How many of these people would have been alive had they complied? Virtually all of them. Let's see, 25 unarmed black men killed by the police. That's the scenario people are concerned about. They're not concerned, I would think, so much about the scenario where somebody has a weapon, has a knife or a gun, unless you're in Philadelphia, in which case apparently you're never supposed to shoot anybody black, irrespective of the threat he poses. So assuming those people are really kind of on the fringe, we're talking about the so-called questionable ones, where an unarmed black person has been killed. Last year, 25 unarmed blacks. 7,000 blacks, homicide victims, almost all killed by other blacks, which means the percentage of black homicide victims who are unarmed, killed by the police, is 0.3%. Meanwhile, once again, typical weekend in Chicago, 50 people shot, 5 to 7 people killed. And by the way, the homicide rate in Philadelphia, higher than that of Chicago. Can we knock it off? Can we at least wait until the black police chief makes a statement, until the black police chief has seen the footage and puts out some sort of statement? Can we see something? The Philadelphia Fraternal Order of Police, by the way, has defended the officer's actions. Now, we talked about this before. If 25 unarmed black men are killed every year, that's 2 per month. Again, this wasn't unarmed, but I guess it doesn't really matter. So we can do this until the cows come home. Meanwhile, more unarmed whites are killed every year than unarmed blacks. Name one. What's the chant they say in the streets? Say her name, say her name. Okay, say their name. Say their name. Name one. 50 million police civilian interactions every single year. 11 million arrests. 60,000 officers assaulted. 60 killed. Which means over twice as many police officers are killed every year than are unarmed blacks. Say their names. Out of the 1,000, 500 of them are white. So the police are killing twice as many whites as blacks. And when you look at the homicide rate of young black men, 8 times the rate of young white men, it clearly shows you how the police are restraining themselves, because those numbers would suggest that the police would be killing more blacks. If a young black is 8 times more likely to be a homicide victim compared to a young white, and the police are, quote, only, close quote, 2.5 times more likely to kill a black person than a white person, it shows you how the police are restraining themselves, which is consistent with the study that was done by the black Harvard economist I told you about named Roland Fryer. He found that the police were more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger against a black suspect than a white suspect, tracking the findings that have been done by professors at Washington State for decades. You're getting people killed. Officers pulling back. Bad guys know it. I'm Larry Elder.